It's always lovely to share these stories of wonderful TV series and films that we've adored for so many years, because we've all sat down, haven't we, and watched our favourite shows. And I know many of you enjoyed the recent video all about the late and brilliant Dame Angela Lansbury. As I said, for many of us, she was Murder, She Wrote. But when you look at her career, what a phenomenal career. And as I said, when I was sat in the stalls with her at the Gielgud Theatre, you are sitting with someone who literally has done everything. Met everyone, appeared with everyone, and yet so nice and down to earth. Just very sweet, not a difficult person at all. I think that probably comes with age, doesn't it? In the fact that you've nothing to prove because you've proven it all. There's your talent laid out bare, as it were. You know exactly what you're doing. Now it's interesting, as I say, because when you look at other interviews and things like that you've done, you've been so lucky to meet some wonderful people along the way, including Farrah Fawcett. Now, Farrah Fawcett for me was literally a major icon. No two ways about it. A lovely, lovely lady who really set a cornerstone, didn't she, in the mid-1970s as Jill Munroe in Charlie's Angels. Not only that, I'm sure many girls, of course, had the opportunity to roller their hair. Do you remember that? Heated rollers, girls, to get that Farrah Fawcett effect. And of course, she did a lot for dentistry. Fabulous natural teeth, beautifully tanned lady, and of course very talented too. Now I, as I say, met Farrah Fawcett really, when you think about it, in a very small studio in Millbank in London, and there was no dressing room, so she had to go to the ladies literally on the third floor to do her own makeup and hair. That's how unfussy she was. She had been, of course, the biggest star mid-70s, and this poster had literally sold millions around the world. It was a poster that she struck a deal with herself because Aaron Spelling and his TV production company wanted to have sort of control rights of her image. She very astutely said no. But looking back at the interview, what's fascinating is that, everything could have been rather different on Charlie's Angels, certainly ahead of its time. If you remember, Charlie's Angels was about three beautiful girls that you never suspected could literally kick you around, get you in handcuffs, all while having glossy hair, lip gloss, and of course high heels. The beautiful Kate Jackson, Sabrina, remember her, and of course the equally stunning Jacqueline Smith. What a lady, still around today and looking as beautiful as ever. And of course the aforementioned Farrah Fawcett as Jill Munroe. And they had sort of a boss, didn't they? Bosley, do you remember Bosley? Who they sort of bossed around. And then we had John Forsyth as the voice, who later became, of course, Blake Carrington in Dynasty. But what a voice he had, everybody remembers him, don't they? But according to Farrah Fawcett, and this is really interesting when you think about it, because picture yourself now, girls, this is around about 75, 76. Really, it was a different time, a totally different time. Women, of course, had got all sorts of things like the vote and were able to get some career progression, but clearly in the land of television, it was impossible to even assume that Charlie could be a woman directing women. Now, Farrah Fawcett told me that they pitched the idea that when there was problems with John Forsyth's contract regarding carrying on, well, what about one of the girls, or indeed a brand new girl, suddenly becoming the boss of Charlie's Angels? According to Farrah, there was a bit of a stunned silence in the meeting. Apparently Leonard Goldberg was there also, an associate producer. And they said, oh, no, that wouldn't work. And she said, well, why not? No, you couldn't have women telling other women what to do. And besides, it's called Charlie's Angels. So she said, well, you can have a Charlie for a girl's name. No, it wouldn't work. And on that particular piece in the interview, I said, can you imagine, though, how forward-thinking that might have been then? And even she said, well, I'm not sure it would have worked, because would people have accepted us being dictated to by another woman? And as I said, maybe a character like Alexis Carrington-Colby in Dynasty, aka Joan Collins, that would have worked. And she said, you should have been at the casting, Neil. Seriously. But what was fascinating was, as you look back, you can see how those TV shows were shaped literally around the moment in time. We still enjoy them today, but even when you look at them, you think you couldn't get away with that in today's climate. Or am I wrong, ladies? And gents, of course, we secretly all enjoyed the show too. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.